Thank you all for being here. My name is Lauren Weingarten. I'll be your moderator for this evening. I'm a survivor, a credentialed victim advocate, and trauma support specialist and community builder. I'm the voice and founder of MTMV Community Support Network, one of the first social media-based communities for survivors and their supporters. Tonight launches the new MTMV and Friends Community Café and Fundraiser series. Felt appropriate to start with a celebration of Black women's history, as Black women have been at the forefront of so many important movements. Special shout out to Reese Taylor, Tarana Burke, and Dr. Nadine Burke-Harris. The speakers here this evening are also making history with the work that they are doing. To quote the late, great Marsha P. Johnson, history isn't something you look at. History isn't something that you look at and say it was inevitable. It happens because people make decisions that are sometimes very impulsive and of the moment. Those moments are cumulative realities. I also just want to be sure to add that trans women are women and we celebrate them and all they have done for us as well. All proceeds from this event will go to Girls for Gender Equity, a national Black Women's Justice Institute. Girls for Gender Equity centers Black girls and gender-expansive youth of color in the work for racial and gender justice. National Black Women's Justice Institute is dismantling the punitive model that drives the U.S. criminal legal system and disproportionately impacts Black women, girls, and gender-expansive people. Before we dive in, let's take a quick moment to review the agreements for the space. I'll put them in the chat as well. As we're joining from many different places, it can be helpful to come together with some set expectations. Everyone in this space is responsible for maintaining a welcoming environment that's respectful, encouraging, and supportive to its members. So everyone is asked to strive to follow these agreements, be polite and respectful to everyone in the space, avoid abusive behaviors and language. The profanity that is not directed at others is allowed. We're adults, not going to tell anyone they can't curse here. Your experiences matter. This is not the place to disclose your personal stories of trauma or abuse. We have set speakers and a moderator for this event. We ask that you use headlines only in your comment shares, making references brief and free from any graphic details or imagery. Support is available. You can reach out to me at mtmvcommunity@gmail.com or direct message me on Instagram, and I can help try to find you those resources or support. Safety is the priority. You can step out at any time. And anyone who does engage in abusive behaviors or violates these agreements may be removed from the Zoom without re-entry. Not anything I'm concerned about, but it's nice to have those set expectations. Thank you for supporting this community and grassroots effort. Let's get into it. I'm so honored to be in community with you. We have many amazing speakers this evening, and I will introduce them throughout our Zoom call. So without further delay, let me introduce our first speaker, Dr. Torie. Dr. Torie McDonald-Williams is a visionary leader, educator, speaker, and advocate committed to transforming lives. Transforming lives through trauma-informed education, mentorship, and community empowerment. Born in Kansas City, Missouri, Dr. Torie became a first-generation high school graduate from Peso Academy High School. She earned her Bachelor of Science in Psychology from the University of Central Missouri, followed by a Master of Business Administration from the University of Phoenix and a Master of Arts in Teaching in Special Education from National Louis University in Chicago. In December 2019, she achieved her greatest academic milestone, earning her Doctorate of Education from Chicago State University. Dr. Torie is the founder and executive director of the Be Victorious Foundation, 501c3 nonprofit that provides mentorship, scholarships, and trauma-informed support for young people affected by adverse childhood experiences. She's also the CEO of Be Victorious with Dr. Torie. Welcome, Dr. Torie.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for having this space, especially for Black history and for women's history. I think you've pretty much explained everything, and I think it's a blessing and honor just to share because, you know, being the first person to graduate from high school, get two master's degrees and a doctorate degree. I mean, it's really humbling. I'll be honest. I really don't get a chance to share a lot, but I have inspired and impacted a lot of people. I actually am a professor. This is what I do. I'm in spaces where I can have that conversation and give support for people that have adverse childhood experiences as a dissertation coach. So I have actually helped a lot of people just not go back to school to get their degree, but get their doctorate degrees. And I'm humbled about that because, again, being a first generation high school graduate is a lot, but I did what I needed to do. I am happy to share that I'm a single mother of 3 beautiful girls. I have a senior that is graduating this year. So just celebrating Black history, celebrating women's history is very big for me. So again, thank you so much, everybody, for having a space where we can have this conversation, because this gives so much to a lot of people to have that opportunity to not just say, well, you can do it, but you know someone else that can. So that's the reason why I have the Victorious Foundation. I love my organization. We are doing wonderful things. We do have a conference coming up where we're addressing adverse childhood experiences through a conference, and I'm really excited about that. So you guys, thank you again for having me. To the ladies that are here, God bless you all, and continue to make an impact in your communities.
I was muted. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. Appreciate all the work that you do. Next up, we have Lakeydra Houston. Lakeydra Houston is an award-winning 2024 Presidential Awarded Social Justice Leader, U.S. Air Force veteran, and founder of KeyFit LLC, dedicated to mobilizing marginalized communities, uplifting their voices, and driving grassroots efforts for policy change at state and federal levels. With degrees in criminal justice and leadership and a forthcoming master's degree in social work, specializing in military and trauma, Lakeydra is a certified expert in assist, victim advocacy, and resiliency training. She brings over a decade of experience in addressing domestic violence, sexual assault prevention, mental health advocacy, and providing employment and resources for unhoused veterans. Welcome.
Hey, Lauren, thank you. When I hear all that, I was like, is that really me? Like, what? Um, I will say this, I'm so thankful to be here. I'm so humbled because as myself as a survivor, we go through so much. And I recently took on a position to help women of color at the hospitals when they have their SANE exam to help them with their victim resources. And it's so sad to see that a lot of women of color do not want to get their victim resources, victim services, because of the fact that in the household, I don't know how many women agree with me on this. We're told to keep business in the house, certainly when it comes to someone who is a family member who's done this, and also that we don't talk about, things that happen. So for me, I break that curse, that generational curse where we keep on telling it's okay to be silent. Black women don't say nothing, don't speak up. I'm trying to fight against that. And so just being on here and just being a woman making change, not just in the hospitals, in the cities, in the states, I'm also making change within my household. And what's so interesting is when I came forward, multiple women in my or before me had came forward too. And I'm like, wow. So now we're working on healing as a family, which is the first time this has happened in a long time. And then we're just moving that forward. So I want to tell you all, survivors or supporters, like, continue, making change in others' lives, in your lives. And, this happened to us. But we have to understand that we are stronger than ever. Certainly when we're together, we are not broken. We may be bent, but we're not broken. So continue rising. Understand you are seen, you are heard. And now it's taking me also into school, into the youth jail systems. I'm going there now and I'm learning so much about prevention and education. A lot of these women don't understand. Black women or women of color do not understand what it means to be a sexual assault survivor. So now I'm teaching them in the jail system who may have mental health or whatever, teaching them to break those barriers. So I will tell you something, get in, just get into your communities, understand you are seen, you are heard, you're loved, and do not continue fighting for yourself and others. So I love you guys. We're going to continue making history, Lauren. Thank you so much for giving us a platform. Thank you for all the ladies on here. And let's go out and let's make a difference in this world. So I love you all.
The feeling is mutual. Thank you for being here. I got chills when you were talking about healing as a family. Like, talk about breaking those cycles. Thank you, Lakeydra. Next up, we have Ashley Simpo. Ashley Simpo is a Brooklyn-based storyteller with a decade-deep imprint on the creative community. Known for her rich, unflinching voice and knack for weaving experimental narratives, Ashley's work embodies a bold dance between raw emotion and sharp perspective. As the author of A Kid's Book About Divorce and countless essays that carve out space for complex conversations on identity, community, and motherhood, she's a trusted guide through the untidy corners of life. Ashley has become a go-to voice in creative community building, offering not just stories, but blueprints for connection. Welcome.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for that introduction, Lauren, and thank you for facilitating this community of support and this event tonight. Like you said, yes, storytelling has been a grounding presence in my life my entire life. So I started journaling when I was 6. I've been a professional writer for about the past decade or so as an essayist and a copywriter and all kinds of other different things. So I feel really strongly about storytelling, whether that is our collective or individual history or, whether that's our survivor stories. I think that voices really matter. And so storytelling is really what brought me to the work that I am doing now. It started telling stories. I always like to say that it started the day that Roe v. Wade was overturned, although it did definitely start before that when I had my own child in 2012 and needed to learn to advocate for myself, especially as a survivor. My midwife at the time asked me if I had experienced sexual assault, and it was the first time that I had ever talked about it. So with her empowering me to have a conversation with a prenatal therapist, which I didn't even know existed, by the way, I finally sat down and talked to someone about my story because it was vital to my birth plan to get that out and process it so that it didn't come up during childbirth, and because I wanted to have an unmedicated childbirth. Also because of my experiences in hospitals, that was really important. And so I think that that was really a moment for me of understanding how connected all of these things are, all these different stories that our bodies can tell. And then, later in life, as a writer and as an editor, I wrote a lot about my experiences in childbirth and the maternal health crisis in general, which led me to be in conversation with a full spectrum doula the day that they overturned Roe v. Wade. Specifically, I wanted to talk to her about abortion, but it ended up being a conversation about what are we going to do now that this has been overturned. And what they said to me that day really empowered me because they said, our bodies can't be governed. Like, this is not going to stop the work that we do. It's not going to stop people from having their own agency over their bodies. The work gets different. The work will pivot, but it doesn't end. And I think that really empowered me to look at how I'm showing up in the community and what I can do to be part of that movement. And so later that day, I was on the set with Latham Thomas, who is a well-known doula in the community. She's also a fellow Taurus and a fellow Oakland native like myself. And as I was there just overseeing the set, because we were doing a photo shoot for her for a maternal health issue that I was working on, she sort of nudged me and said, "When are you going to take my workshop?" And I think that nudge went a long way. So I did end up studying with her and taking the doula workshop and finishing the coursework. And in January, I assisted my first two births as a doula. And that was a moment of a full circle moment for me, because I was able to really see how important having agency over our bodies is, whether that is about sharing our stories, whether that is surviving, abuse, or whether that is enduring labor and giving birth to children or giving birth to something, and having to navigate spaces like the hospital environment. And so all of this comes down to just my belief that stories matter, that they can be not only a voice for the person who's telling the story, but the person who's listening. I know hearing other people's stories is what has empowered me to share my own. And so I think the message that I just want to share with everybody is, even if you don't shout your story into a microphone or into a publication or something, just to understand the power of your voice and the power of you owning whatever it is that your story consists of. So yeah, that was kind of it. I hope that everybody has a good rest of the night, and I appreciate you guys for listening and being here.
Thank you for being here. When you said our bodies can't be governed, like I literally got chills, and I feel like Ashley, so much of your work really speaks to that, like as a through line and the way you build community. So thank you.
Thank you.
Continuing with our amazing speakers, we have Alva Johnson. Alva Johnson is a dynamic individual known for her competitive achievements and commitment to helping others. A former Division I volleyball player, she majored in communication arts and began her career in 1996 as a recruiter for the Randstad staffing during the Atlanta Olympic Games. Alva held HR leadership roles in organizations like Care International and Airmark before joining a boutique staffing firm. Her passion for event production led her to co-found Heaven on Earth LLC, organizing events internationally, and co-founding a bubbly focused champagne conference. Her work as a political strategist led to legal battles against Trump, including a sexual assault lawsuit and a dispute over an NDA, non-disclosure agreement. In 2022, an arbitrator ruled in her favor, declaring the NDA unenforceable and his attempt to silence her unconstitutional. Alva remains active in Democratic politics, especially fundraising for grassroots organizations and sexual assault advocacy. Her work has been highlighted in numerous prestigious publications. Hi, Alva, welcome.
Hi, Lauren. Thank you so much for creating this space, and thank you for just always being an advocate and a listening ear, especially for those of us who are survivors. You just heard Lauren give an overview of not who I am, but what I've done in my life. But one of the most, I guess, one of the most poignant areas for tonight is that I'm one of the 28 women to publicly accuse Donald J. Trump of sexual assault. In addition to that, I'm the only Black woman to publicly accuse him of sexual assault. And with that comes its own challenges. It comes the audacity, like how dare I challenge this, powerful white man? How dare I not feel flattered? It comes the erasure. It comes from the media without realizing that the invisibility that they tried to create for me and the erasure that they tried to invoke on me is directly tied to my safety. I too endured, death threats. I endured, I've heard every way that I could possibly die or be killed from his crazy supporters. But with the media choosing to not pay attention, even when I was going through litigation, or to pretend as if my story didn't exist. It's just like when Black girls go missing. If you do not highlight the story, the chances of them being found are less. And so my safety has always been directly tied to that. But I want to say, despite going through all of that, I'm turning 50 this year. And that's something that I never would have, so easily admitted. But I think I have come to a place, especially as a Black woman, of understanding that rest and joy is a radical art. So I'm here to give you hope. I'm here to give you hope because we see what's happening right now in the world. We see, rapists. We see sexual assaulters. We see women beaters in power, in charge. And it's almost as if it's no longer frowned upon. And so I'm here to give you hope. As a person that took on the most powerful man in the world, as a citizen, as a private citizen, I eventually won. And I eventually won by building a community of people who were there with me, but also by my refusal to give up, by sticking and holding on to my truth. And so as we see the darkness that is coming to all of us right now, just try to hold on to a glimmer of hope. Try to be a glimmer of light. And that light can sometimes start on a day that it's just a spark, or it may start on a day where it's just a flicker, or you might have a day where it's a sunbeam, or you might have a day where it is a raging house fire because you're just burning it all down. There is warmth, and there is a way to see out of the darkness if you hold on to just a glimmer of your light. And so even if we look at everything that's happening right now, build your community. Remember that you matter. Do not humble yourself for anyone. Maintain your tenacity, and don't let anyone steal your hope. Be true to your emotions, because it's not always easy. I mean, I've been through some things that I'm proud of myself for being able to get through it, but I still feel it. And I will always feel the effects of what happened to me. But it doesn't mean that I will allow it to steal my joy. And so on the days that you can find just even a glimmer of your joy, rest when you need to, and remember that joy is a radical act of rebellion. And so sometimes you can rebel by just refusing to allow them to steal your joy. I'm really honored to have been asked to speak. Lauren, thank you for always being a light, not only for myself, but for the other 27 survivors of Donald J. Trump, or as we call ourselves, the Sisters of the Strange Sorority. Thank you for always being there for us. I am humbled, and I'm so moved hearing all the other stories from the rest of you, beautiful and strong and powerful women. And remember, we keep going, and we do it with joy, because joy is a radical act. Thank you.
Joy is a radical act. Yes to that. Yes to that. And I really like how you said, like, holding on to these glimmers. And I think that's so important. And sometimes we may not have that hope or be able to hold on to it, and know that me and so many others will hold on to some of that for you. And we're here. And I know I'm really grateful for this community. And thank you so much, Alva. So glad to be sisters with you. Next up, we have Britt Marshall. Britt Marshall is the creator and founder of Feel Good RVA and Good Connects RVA. She is certified in events management, planning, and marketing, as well as NOCTI certified in floral design and plant sciences. Britt started Feel Good RVA in 2019 after hosting the first annual Live and Let Live mental health event. From there, she has hosted many events ranging from resource events to river cleanups, fashion shows, and more. Her goal is to continue creating fun, informative, and supportive spaces within our community. Hi, Britt.
Hi, how are you? Well, I know we talked earlier, but hi, everybody. I have been thinking over what direction I wanted to go with speaking tonight. Thank you, first of all, Lauren, for inviting me to do this. One of my passions has always been mental health advocacy. After family members having their own journeys and then my own personal journey, it's just always been something that's driven me, especially the more I become aware of how people struggle to find the resources to better their wellness journey and their mental health. So I just wanted to highlight how, just in simple terms, that being not only a woman, but a woman of color in this time is just very stressful. It's very overwhelming. And I just want to encourage people to find what works for them, to find peace in their lives. Alva before me mentioning joy, I feel like that is so important in our lives right now, to find peace and joy and to find what that looks like for us personally, because it's not for everyone. It's very easy for TikTok and for the internet to tell us to do things a certain way, but our journeys are unique. So I just want to encourage people, whether it's journaling or therapy and counseling, finding community, exercise, whatever it looks like, we just need to focus sometimes on being a little bit selfish when we spend so much time being selfless and taking care of everyone else around us. Like Lauren mentioned, I started curating event spaces where I just wanted to allow people to gain access to even, spaces like MTMV community. I reflect on a group chat from a few years ago with about 6 other women of color, and we all kind of came to terms with how common it is for women to experience not feeling safe, to put that in simple terms. It is essential for us to take moments to just care for our mental well-being the same way we would our physical. So I think I'll end there. Thank you again, Lauren. Thank you for all that you do in creating a space for survivors. It's unique and it's scary. It's bold for the statements. Like, I look at what you post on Instagram all the time, and it just takes so much courage to advocate for what you advocate for. So I just want to thank you as well for creating spaces like this.
Well, thank you so, so much. I really resonated with you saying our journeys are unique. And isn't that the truth? And I feel like there are so many different videos or quote unquote how to, but we're all on our own path. So thank you for highlighting that. Thank you for the work that you do and creating amazing spaces that also get me out of the house, because I do not get out of the house enough. So thank you for all your community building.
Thank you.
I'm having a blast. Let's give it up in the chat for our speakers so far. Let's send them some love, because this is just amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Next up, we have Terace Garnier. Terace Garnier is an award-winning journalist, motivational speaker, and advocate for sexual assault and domestic violence survivors. As the first disabled veteran crowned Miss International World 2023, she's a trailblazer who uses her platform to empower others. With over a decade of experience as a national correspondent, her work has been featured across major media outlets. She's also the author of No Longer Silent and a champion for mental health and wellness. Hey, Therese.
Hey, Lauren, thank you so much for having me today, having us all here today. And it's just such an honor to be able to be here and speak with all you ladies. One of the things I wanted to start by saying is let's just take a moment to just take a deep breath and then breathe out. Now, just imagine how beautiful that is that you woke up today to be able to take that breath. And I wanted to say that all the people here with me today, you are a walking miracle. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. The fact that you have survived the things that you have survived and you are here in this meeting today shows that you are a walking miracle. And so it's such an honor to be able to be here with you all and share a little bit about my journey. Now, as Lauren had mentioned, I am the author of No Longer Silent. And it basically goes into childhood trauma. And then again, a trauma that I experienced while I was in the military. And so I thought it was very important to publish this book to try to find my own voice and start my own healing journey. And the biggest thing that I like to push in my book is if you can, try to start using your voice to start your healing journey, whether you're using it to speak out for others. Maybe you're not so comfortable speaking out for yourself, but you want to speak up for others. You can use your voice that way. And even so, use your voice to get your own power back. The most important thing is to know that what happened to you doesn't have to define who you are as a person or what you do in the future. And that starts with taking your power back. And I believe that you can take your power back by using your voice. I've had a lot of people ask me, well, what if I want to, report it? Or what if I'm not comfortable with using my voice? Or what if I'm doing it because I want to get justice? And I always tell people, don't use your voice to try to get justice because you might not get it. I know I was assaulted as a child, and to this day, the man that did it is still roaming free, and he'll probably never go to jail for what he did to me. But I knew it was important for me to come forward in case there are other people that he could, become a predator towards. And so I wasn't doing it for justice, but I knew that maybe I could help other people. Not only that, also help myself with that healing journey and heal those wounds. And it's amazing how many people have reached out to me and shared their story, and they say, this is the first time I've ever shared it with someone, and I feel a weight lifted off my shoulders. And it's so beautiful because that vulnerability, that opening up and sharing something that for most of us we're ashamed of. That's why we wouldn't talk about it, or we're scared of retaliation, and to not have that fear and be able to share that. It's so liberating. And so to have this platform and be able to be here and for all of us to be able to share our stories, for those that are comfortable with doing that, it's a beautiful thing and it's such a blessing. And I just want to encourage everyone that, like I said, you are a walking miracle. You are a survivor. You're no longer a victim. You are a survivor. You have already taken your power back just by being here. And so I just want to encourage all you ladies and men. I don't know if we have some men on here as well, but men suffer assaults just as much as women do. It's just a comfort to be able to be here with you all and have that encouragement. I want to encourage you all to build the community with each other, reach out to each other. Let's swap numbers, let's swap emails and keep in touch with each other. So that way we have this community that whenever we want someone to talk to or a shoulder to lean on, we know that we have a network and a community to do that. And it's all thanks to Lauren. And so that's a little bit about me. I know I didn't really talk about myself too much because the focus for me was just being able to be here and hopefully uplift some of you all, but also I'm feeling so uplifted and seeing the empowerment of how you all were so brave to step up and share your stories. And so just thank you all so much. And also to end what I'm saying, happy Women's History Month. I love you all.
Thank you so much. You are a walking miracle, and you show that every single day. And, thank you also for, just illustrating that all genders can be harmed from abuse. I think that's super, super important. Happy International Women's Day. Thank you for being here. Our next guest, next speaker needs a couple of minutes to finish getting set up. So I'm going to riff a little bit. Good luck to everybody. Do any of our speakers have any additional words that they want to say? While we find that out, see if anybody has any questions or additional thoughts. Want to thank everybody for being here. As a reminder, this is a fundraiser, so thank you for everybody who has bought tickets, who has shown up to support the speakers. We are raising funds once again for Girls for Gender Equity and National Black Women's Justice Institute. Yes, someone's asking, can we get a link to share this? We are recording this. Give us a little bit of time for all the speakers to approve the video, and then I plan to upload onto YouTube. So you'll be able to enjoy it and share it. Yvana will be set up soon. This is going to be the first of hopefully many events, MTMV and Friends speaker series. I am planning one for April, which is typically a Sexual Assault Awareness Month. We're going to flip that a little bit and have a Sexualized Violence Action Month. I think that for a lot of survivors, it's kind of like, okay, we're aware, like let's have some action, let's have some tangible support for survivors. So looking forward to that. Getting some other warm fuzzies. Thank you. Thank you so much for all the speakers for sharing your stories. I'm feeling very inspired. You're all incredible. I agree. I am so inspired. Whenever I just feel all buzzy. It's really nice to be in community with you.
Yes,
Hi.
actually, hi. So I actually wanted to make a comment. For those who are looking at ways that we can kind of branch out and help other survivors, one of the things that I've been doing, I mentor high school students as well as college students. And while I'm mentoring them in journalism, I've been able to incorporate teaching them how to interview sexual assault survivors, the right things to ask, the wrong things to ask. How to finesse it and not trigger them while you're doing an interview. Also, if they're survivors themselves, how do they cover those topics, et cetera, et cetera. And so I just would like to encourage everyone here, if there are opportunities when you get to work with other people, there are ways that you can incorporate that message regardless of where you work. So that was my way of being able to mentor these college students, because while I was mentoring these students, I asked them if I could teach this course, but with the caveat that I got to give them a copy of my book, and then I got to talk about if they're ever in a situation, because a lot of the students I was dealing with were in college, and we know a lot of assaults happen on college campuses. So that was the caveat. I said, hey, I want to teach these kids, but you got to give me an opportunity to share this message. And they all were open to it, very accepting of it. And who knows if it'll help them in the future, but I was just glad to be able to have that opportunity to speak to them and also let them know that if anything has ever happened to them, or let's say they just want some advice or they know someone else that this has happened to, I told them that they could always come to me and talk to me. And, I'll try to help them in any way I can. So I know a lot of folks here are probably thinking, well, I want to do more. What can I do? Especially with the political climate that we're in, a lot of people are fearful to speak up more because of what's going on. This is a way that you can do it wherever you are. And then there's not that fear of retaliation as well. So I just kind of wanted to share that because that's one of the things that I've been very adamant to do, especially now. I was supposed to be doing a national tour, going to different schools across the country and giving speeches at high schools and colleges about how to protect yourself from sexual assault and how to help others if it happens. And because of everything that's transpired, I've kind of had to put a stop to it. So now I'm just trying to find other creative ways to still support and get that message out there. So hopefully that gave others here some ideas of ways that they can still share that message and not have that fear of retaliation.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Everyone in your community and the folks that you mentor are really lucky to have you. Um, Looks like Yvana is ready. And Ashley, I see your hand. We'll circle back after Yvana. Thank you all. All right, let me get back to it. Yvana Hepburn-Bailey is a best-selling author, 2 times Hall of Famer, former Olympic level athlete, and a global inspirational speaker dedicated to empower women to rise above limitations and to step boldly into their full potential. As a champion of resilience, versatility, and reinvention, Yvana's journey from elite athlete to published runway model, actor, business leader, and the author of The Flight of Your Life, The Power of Propulsion, demonstrates that no challenge is too great for a determined heart. Her message resonates deeply with women seeking strength, clarity, and the courage to soar higher. As the co-founder of Aspire Higher Enterprises and 3B Fitness and Performance, Yvana transforms lives through her signature trademark coaching programs, including Purpose, Periodization, Transcend Your Image, and Wake Up Women. Hello.
Hi. Hello, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me okay. First of all, I'm honored. Thank you so much, Lauren, for the opportunity. I'm so grateful for all the women, from PhDs to writers to inspirational advocacy. I'm so grateful. And I'm even more grateful because we all have her story, right? We know history, but her story is even better. And I truly believe in the power of storytelling. So I wrote something down that I want to share for Women's History and also Black History Month as it ties together. And Lauren, just thank you so much for creating a space for African American women to be seen, to be loved, to be honored and valued. We don't always feel that everywhere, but you created a space within this community, and I hope we can forever be a part of it because it transcends not only our lives, but also the emotion behind Black women as a whole. So this is what I wanted to talk about. When women walk in power, it is everything, but it didn't just start from us. So tracing it back to history, there was a time where by the way, once told us to wait, to sit quietly while the world decided our worth, to also shrink ourselves, right? To play it safe, to stay in background or in the background while others took the lead. Now, I don't even know if that resonates with you immediately, but that's part of my story as well. And as women, so many times we work into corporate spaces, entrepreneur spaces, 9 to 5, whatever it is, and we don't feel seen, heard, loved, valued, and respected. I'll tell you a little bit about what I do to transform that and to empower women later. But getting back into history, this is a moment where I just wanted to end the program inspiring you guys. We're also helping you to reflect on where we came from as a people, because we have come through some big things, and it really does involve the word resilience. So as I continue, we don't have to be quiet. They have wanted us to be quiet for long. And as Women's History Month and also Black History Month, it's not just about looking back, but it's all about us understanding the resilience that carries forward. It's also about recognizing that women who rose up in the past, they were the ones that were the trailblazers, the trendsetters. They opened the doors for us to be able to stand in our truth and also to be able to represent ourselves. While we carry their legacy, their courage, starting with Harriet Tubman, who walked into the unknown so others could walk free, the strength of Rosa Parks, who sat down so we could stand up, also the vision of Maya Angelou, who gave voice to pain and turned it into power, the brilliance of Shirley Chisholm, who didn't just break the glass ceiling, she ran through it. It wasn't just them. So many people remember the goats, the legends, right? But let's talk about our moms. Let's talk about our grandmothers or those that you know of that inspired your own life. Those are the ones that raised us and told us to stand tall when the world tries to bring us down and break us. Come on, somebody in the chat say amen, right? Now, the world can seldom make us feel small. However, the women whose names don't make it into history books, those are the ones that need to be prayed for, praised, and honored. And we represent that as a lineage, which is even more empowering. We walk because they first walked, right? And here's the strength isn't just about history. It's about what you decide to do with it now. Because we're still being honest, we're still told to play small, be safe, right? People can agree to that. I can't stand it, okay? Because we're not made to be that. And because we're still told these things and to also soften our edges, and I'm not talking about our baby edges, I'm talking about the real edges, right? To be grateful also for the seat at the table and to be grateful that we're even at the table. Mind you, that's the table we built, okay? No more are we going to embrace that or even harness that as our superpower. Because now we have the ability to walk with purpose, to walk with power. And yes, it, of course, is going to be uncomfortable. I mean, but great things happen when people become uncomfortable and do it great anyway. That's what I always believe. Having a fitness business, I've had it for like 20 years, it feels like, and now empowering individuals with Aspire Higher. My whole job is to bring the best specifically out of women so that they can understand how to harness their true superpower, not be playing small, and to walk into a room unashamed, unafraid, commanded with their presence, and leave an unforgettable exit. That is my mission. And as we walk in power together, know that whatever people think, that's their problem. It's not our problem anymore to make it comfortable for other people. So it's okay if you stand up, rise up, and decide when I go into a room, this is who I am. This is the presence that I'm going to leave when I walk out of the door. These are things that I want you to think about on a daily basis. And know that because it is women's history, know your strength. You know the price that was paid for you to stand up. So keep standing and don't apologize for it. Don't apologize for the way you're built. Don't apologize for the way you talk. Be who you are authentically and let the world do that. So you walk because Harriet walked. You speak because Sojourner spoke. You rise because Maya rose. And you lead because Shirley leads. And if someone says who she thinks she is, you tell them exactly who you are. And you make no apologies for it. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your patience. Thank you, everyone, for this opportunity. And also, too, if you need inspiration, please, that is what I do. It is inherent within me to transform the lives specifically of women who have been through, specifically who are women that are trying to get to, and the ones that are on top that need a little bit of guidance. That's what my coaching program is all about. I have a program specifically called Wake Up Woman, where we identify our superpowers, leverage them for the best impact. And also, don't forget, get my book. We just hit bestseller. It's called The Flight of Your Life. It's available on Amazon. Please get it. It's an inspirational read. I didn't just get from New York to Florida to train as an Olympic level athlete with a dream deferred after getting into a major accident. I learned how to leverage that pain, and this book will teach you about that. And I also learned how to leverage perseverance and resilience. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you again.
Thank you. I can see why you're a motivational speaker. Like, I am pumped. Like, walk into your power. Yes, ma'am. Like, let's do it. I feel like I'm walking on air. That was incredible. Thank you for being here. Thanks for sharing about your work, your book, and that incredible motivation. I am going to, before we wrap it up, I am going to pass it back over to Ashley Simpo to share a resource for storytellers, etc. Let's see. Hey.
Hi. Oh, I just, because a few other folks were sharing some resources, I wanted to also share one aligned with the storytelling element. So I have a Substack called The Landline, and I'm partnered with a friend of mine who's also a survivor. She wrote an incredible book called Pack Light, which is her literally unpacking her experience during the pandemic. And it came out in the form of poetry and prose. And it inspired us to put together a series of tools for folks who are wanting to dive into their own story, whether they want to tell it to a journal or write it for, a publisher or something like that. It's not easy work to do. And with my creative partner, Tiffany, we kind of created some resources and handholding for storytellers who have difficult stories to tell. It's a free resource. There's a bunch of different things like journal prompts. There's just like self-care tools. There's different ways to sort through the story while taking care of yourself. There's also a media list of like podcasts and films and things like that. So I can share that resource. I can drop the link in, or I can give it to you, Lauren. But I just wanted to share that because we talk about telling stories, but it's not easy to do. And I just wanted to share that support. So that was all I wanted to mention.
No, thank you. And please do definitely drop that in the chat. And if you want, you can email it and I can disseminate it as well in case folks don't get that. Absolutely. I mean, storytelling is so important, but we actually just posted about this. We don't inherently have the language, even for ourselves, to craft narratives around our experiences. So I know I'm going to be checking out this resource. So thank you, Ashley. Thank you all to our amazing, amazing speakers. What an evening. Go ahead and throw some extra love and encouragement to our speakers in the chat while I wrap it up. Thank you for showing up for survivors, Black women, and Black-led organizations. We covered a lot of important ground this evening, and I hope you take some of this with you and share it with your communities. We have chatted about some, various things. So if it feels comfortable, take a moment, unclench your jaw, lower your shoulders, shake it out. You all are incredible. You all are making history, and I didn't even realize it till after, but after I started reaching out to people, but we really just assembled like just people who were so focused on community building, survivor storytelling, caring and nurturing for each other, especially as we are at uncertain times. So thank you for all you do. Thank you everyone for being here. Go us, go team.